My freshman year of college, I had put on this kind of mask for years, and I didn't really want anyone to know the real me, and I didn't really want everyone to know all the problems that had gone on, and so I just kind of had this shallow mask that I wore for a really long time. And I remember sitting in my dorm and looking around and realizing that nobody in this room actually knows me. And nobody in this room has any idea who I really am. And I had just made all of these decisions, and I had just run so far away from God, and I just felt like everything was kind of out of control. I was always chasing after something, or I was always trying to impress someone, and I just totally felt like everything had spiraled and I had made all these wrong choices. I was living in Tallahassee, and when I went to youth group, I had kind of a mentor that lived in Tallahassee, and she was really involved in her church. And she told me, no matter what, no matter how far down you go, I'm always going to be here. And she always invited me to church, and she always invited me to the college Bible studies. And I turned her down every time because I thought, no, like, that's just not my life anymore. That's not what I want. And finally, I just showed up at her door, completely broken, and just begged her to, help me and bring me back to church. And they did. Kelly had arms wide open. There was no questions asked, no shame involved, no judging, just really a chance to help me and have someone mentor me to bring my life back in the right direction. My husband and I actually had our first date at Summit a couple years ago. And when we came to Summit, it was in a period of a lot of pain, a lot of transition. And he was concerned that it would just completely kind of push me away from the church, when in reality, just kind of seeing how everyone was hurting together and how there was so much transparency and just people being a community, that it made the church more approachable for someone like me who had been away for so long. And I think just seeing everyone just so openly talk about what was going on with their life and the pain that was going on in the midst of all of this pain, everyone was just kind of coming together and really trying to still be in community and talk about real stuff. It wasn't just everyone in their Sunday best wearing kind of that mask that I had put on before, and just opened the church up and made it so much more approachable. We came to the Lake Mary campus probably a year or two after we had been going to Summit, and the church was so small when we were back at the high school that essentially everyone who was attending volunteered somehow, be it base camp or setting up or lights or tech. Everyone was there for a reason, and everyone had to be there to keep it afloat and kind of keep everything running smoothly. And they had talked about how they needed somebody in Edge and Surge, which was combined at the time. I thought about Kelly, and if my mentor hadn't been there, where I would be. And I wanted to do that for some of the girls there. And I wanted to be someone that the girls could talk to. They were just so passionate and just so involved and unashamed of how much they loved God and how much they wanted to hear His word and be in community with each other. I realized that if I want to volunteer and if I want to be there for these girls, then I need to set an example and show them that it's not too late to turn your life to Christ and to dedicate yourself to Christ. And I think that was a major component in me choosing baptism. Because in my mind, I had already given my life to Christ, and I had already decided that my old life was over and I was going to be completely known and completely new. Just the physical act of baptism was just kind of showing everyone else, like, I've made this choice already, and now I just kind of want to show everyone else, and especially the Surge girls, that it's not too late. It's never too late, and I'm here for God, and that's exactly, this is what I want, and this is the life that I'm going to lead. I didn't expect being baptized and me trying to draw closer to God, I didn't expect that to affect people around me. And that was just really one of those kind of hidden gems in the process, was just being able to see the change that develops. We're meant for so much more than what we think we are. And I think it's really important to figure out what your purpose is and what God is calling you to do. And a lot of the times, actually all the time, you need community for that. And you need to have that open communication and be willing to hear from God. And if it hadn't been for Summit, I think as a whole, if it hadn't been for the community that I've developed and the relationships I've developed, I would have never been in the position to hear God's voice. And I think that, especially with the church, it's important to do that for one another. And it's important to be that kind of person that will help someone on their journey and to help them find their mission and what God wants for them. And it's something that we can't just do on our own. It's something that we as a church need to do.